Somewhere in the world right now it is raining in a place that should be dry. Somewhere else it is bone dry in a place that should be flooding. A heat wave is breaking records in a country that has never broken that record before. And if you asked most people why, they would say climate change and leave it there. But there is something more specific underneath all of it. Something with a name. Something that has been happening for millions of years. And once you understand what it actually is, you will never look at a weather forecast the same way again. It starts in the Pacific Ocean. Under normal conditions, the trade winds blow steadily westward across the tropical Pacific, pushing warm surface water toward Australia and keeping the eastern Pacific cooler. This is the default state. But every 2 to 7 years, something shifts. The trade winds weaken. The warm water stops moving west and spreads east instead. The eastern Pacific warms. And when a vast stretch of ocean changes temperature, it changes the atmosphere above it. And when the atmosphere changes over the Pacific, it changes weather systems across the entire planet. That is El Nino. Not a storm, not a drought, not a flood. A temperature shift in one ocean that rewrites the weather everywhere else. The effects follow patterns scientists have mapped for decades. When El Nino is active, Australia dries out. Wildfires follow. At the same time, the western coast of South America floods. The southern United States runs wet while the Pacific Northwest runs dry. East Africa floods. Southern Africa dries. India's monsoon weakens. The Amazon loses rainfall it cannot afford to lose. These are not coincidences. They are all the same event playing out differently in different places simultaneously. One ocean. Every weather system on Earth. All connected. Right now, a new El Nino is forming. The World Meteorological Organization has confirmed an 80% chance of development this summer. The last El Nino in 2023 to 2024 was classified as strong and contributed to making 2024 the hottest year ever recorded. The one forming now is arriving on top of an atmosphere already warmer than at any point in human history. Climate change does not create El Nino, but it loads the system. It puts extra heat into the ocean before El Nino even begins, which means this one starts from a higher baseline and hits harder. Scientists have warned 2027 could become the hottest year since records began. Here is what that means for you directly. Food prices will rise. El Nino disrupts agriculture on multiple continents simultaneously. Wheat, rice, corn, coffee, cocoa. When harvests fail in Peru and Indonesia and southern Africa at the same time, the global food system feels it. You feel it at the grocery store without knowing why. Disease spreads faster in El Nino years. Warmer temperatures and flooding create ideal conditions for mosquito-borne illness. Dengue, malaria, and cholera all spike during strong events. El Nino is not new. It has been happening for millions of years. Long before humans, long before civilization. The ancient Peruvians built their cities on high ground because they knew the floods would come. Indigenous Australians read the signs in the sky and the land because they had watched the cycle repeat across generations. El Nino is older than every building and every border on Earth. It does not care about any of them. Right now, outside your window, the weather is doing something. Whatever it is, there is a cause. There is always a cause. And somewhere in the tropical Pacific, the water is warming, quietly, steadily, the way it has 1,000 times before, getting ready to remind every living thing on this planet that the ocean is not a backdrop. It is in charge.